I'm here with my friend Adam from FU Tone.
Hey now.
He has made the trek all the way here to Island Music.
Nice drive.
We are very appreciative of that. We've spent the afternoon kind of talking over FU Tone products with our sales staff and our service department, and we've definitely learned a lot, and I think had a lot of fun in the couple hours that you've been here.
So far, so good.
Yeah. So it's been a pretty enjoyable Tuesday afternoon, I think.
I'm loving it. And let me jump in and say this place is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Like I was saying earlier, reminds me of the music stores around Philly when I was growing up, where you'd walk in and there was a ton of guitars and cases filled with effects and everything's jammed. It's the exact feeling that I had. I haven't seen that since I was a kid, since the internet started. Yeah. a real music store like this. There's the behemoths that are just whatever. We know what they are. There's the ultra small that don't really scratch the surface of pro. Right. And there's only a handful of places that I think are still like this. And while we're harping on that, not to get off topic, when the big box stores started and dealers like this, the bulk of them said, oh my God, they're going to kill us. We can't compete. The ones that survived and the ones that even thrived in light of were because I think they filled the hole that a big box store could never fill.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's key. But everyone would complain. I'm like, great opportunity.
Yeah. And it's I hear that a lot too, but I always want to be different. Like I want to carry different things. I don't want to have a row of Sunburst Strats. Not that there's anything wrong with Sunburst Strats, but we want to do other things too. Like I have all the weird instruments. I have mandolas, mandocellos, electric sitars, like just weird stuff in stock that's cool and different that you can't see.
I agree. And what you're competing against, though, and this is completely off topic of what we're going to talk about, you're competing against the internet now. Yeah. So what's the real difference? Yeah. The difference is, in my opinion, it comes down to staff, customer service, customer experience.
Yeah, atmosphere.
Complete. The days of people going in to buy their new Ibanez guitar, a big percentage of the people think you just go online, find the cheapest price.
Yeah, and it shows up at your house, and that's what you have.
And that's it. And then you decide if you like it or not.
Yeah.
I remember the days of coming to a store like this where I would sit here for hours.
Yeah, soak it all in.
Yeah.
And figure still like, what's cool? Where do I fit in this equation?
But then a knowledgeable staff will help me. Where are you trying to go? What do you really need? What's your objective? Oh no, you don't want that. You want this.
Yeah.
That's what will never, ever, ever be replaced by the internet.
Yeah. Let's hope.
In my opinion.
I want to be here a long time.
In my opinion, no, this is great. And the few hours I've been here, I see how your staff interacts with the people coming in. I see right down to the FedEx driver, right down to the mom with the kid with the lesson, to the guy looking for stickers. Yeah. I'm seeing what's going on, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. This is what it's all about.
So there's my compliment.
Well, thank you,
Island.
I certainly appreciate
so
that.
Far.
That means a lot. I'm sure you see a lot of music stores, and you've been in the business a while, so I will take it. So tell me a little bit about your background, how you got started. Part of, I think, what folks listen to for our podcast is not only to hear about gear and artists, is to be inspired. They want to kind of hear, how somebody took an idea or a dream or a goal and made it into something. So tell us kind of how you got started.
It's a really interesting, twisted road where I guess I had to take the long way to get here. It wasn't a straight shot. It was a lot of little things kind of falling into place. But in high school, I started playing guitar. A friend of mine went on to do some pretty big things in the industry. And we were just punk guitar players. We would hang out in our local music stores like this. Like in Philly, it was Zaff's and 8th Street Music and all our little places, the Music Works. These places are all gone. Now, I think 8th Street moved, but not on 8th Street, of course, and it never was. So, but we would hang out and play, and we were guitar nerds. We would take our guitars apart. We would change pickups. This was right at the beginning of like hot rodding guitars.
Okay.
The very beginning. I mean, early 80s. You know, I think the only hot rod you could do to your guitar back in the day from the 70s to the 80s was like upgrade your pickups and change the nut.
Yeah, okay.
You know, remember the brass nut was a big deal, like a Les Paul or Strat.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you get a trade in with a brass nut.
Yeah, and that was, and I think that was the extent of hot rodding back then. Then it became locking tremolos and crazy shapes and colors, and all the new guitar companies coming on, you know, Charvel, Jackson,
BC Ribs,
Kramer, BC. Right, it wasn't just Fender and Gibson anymore.
Right,
and it was a great era to be a teenage guitar player.
Sure, yeah.
You know, my first guitar was a cheap $200 Hondo Flying V that I got at a Sam Goody.
Okay.
So it was, you know, like a complete piece of junk guitar. But I'll send you a picture, and I'm still trying to hunt this guitar back down. I'm trying so hard because I have a lead on it. But over time, it became, you know, an Invader pickup in the bridge, a Kahler tremolo because I couldn't afford the other one at the time. Then I had a Mighty Mite triple coil in the neck position. It sounded like crap, but it looked super cool. You know,
that's half the battle sometimes,
right,
especially in the 80s.
But this was what we were going for. We would just tinker and tinker and tinker. And it was like, how do we make this better or cooler? Then you'd read the guitar magazines.
We were just talking about that,
yeah. And you would see, you know, you'd see a picture of like an Ed Van Halen or Warren DeMartini, and you would see what they were doing to their guitars. And it wasn't what you saw in the stores.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these guys are chopping up guitars, hot rodding guitars. This is cool. To me, working on the guitar, tinkering with the guitar was as much fun as playing it. So you spend time, you know. For me, still to this day, part of the enjoyment for my own stuff is, you know, trying new product, wrenching the guitar, setting it up differently. It's as much fun as playing it to me.
Okay.
So I was always a tinkerer, and my friend went on to end up working for Van Halen, still there, still does what he does. And I was lucky enough to have half a foot into that door, and then we did the Detuner together, me, another partner, and him.
Okay. And it was roughly what year was that? 97?
No. 91.
Oh, wow. Okay, that early. I didn't realize that.
He was still at Ernie Ball.
Okay.
It was like towards the end of Ernie Ball, the middle to the end of the Ernie Ball.
Okay, so I remember the first time that I saw the Detuner was probably 94, 95
Peavy.
time period. No, I saw it on some Music Man guitars for the Balance tour.
Right, for his.
Yep.
So all that stuff on his guitars then, they were all prototype units, and we were just getting to that
Trying to dial it in and figure it out.
Yeah,
okay.
and it was always trial and error, which was a lot of fun.
Sure.
So the Detuner became what it is to this day, and it's still out there, and it's on guitars, and cats use it. But that got my foot in the door in the industry, and I did some work for another company, and then I just started saying, what else can I do to make this bridge sound better, function better, you know, just be more friendly.
Sure.
And a lot of people's knock on locking trems of the day were like, it's a great tool for tuning stability, but it just sounds like crap because you have to cut your guitar up and you're missing wood and that. So I took a bigger piece of material, brass at the time, and put it under the bridge, and it made a huge difference. And I talked to some people like, hey, maybe we should do this. They're like, nobody wants that. It's too expensive. I said, I'm going to go do this on my own.
It's probably good that it worked out that way.
And yeah, thank God, and I went and I did it. And, a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon after the fact and copied it, including the people that told me, like, nobody wants that. I was like, whatever. But luckily, I had amassed a really nice artist roster at the time, and all the guys known for locking tremolos, kind of
Use your product.
jumped. Yeah, they all jumped on, and it's been a great ride for me. And as a kid guitar player from the '80s, seeing the guys that I had on posters on my walls, or that I would sleep out in a parking lot to buy tickets for a concert for.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, look who's on the phone. I'm like, whoa, still
Like,
pretty
pinch
crazy.
yourself. This is
I still
amazing.
pinch myself. And so, D-Tuner's 28-ish, right around there, 28 years old,
Wow.
I think. FU Tone is right around 11 or 12 since
Okay.
I've made it official. And
So we started at the same time, then,
Yeah.
roughly. Yeah. Okay.
it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah. I
So-
always say it beats having a real job.
Oh, God, yes.
Like, when was the last time you wore a suit? Yeah, see?
Well, no, I do wear a suit for certain things still, which we'll get to, I'm sure. But it's rare for me to put on a suit. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, this isn't me.
Yeah, we're cut from the same mold.
Jeans
I
and
always-
T-shirts.
That's right. That's what I wear. Or my Island Music polo when I have to look really official.
You got to hook me up on one of those.
I can. I'll make it happen for you.
Can I get my name on it?
Oh, yeah,
yours?
totally. We can make
Thanks.
that happen. So what was your first real rig as a guitar player, kind of figuring things out and kind of where you got to a point like, this is me, this is my sound, this is...
And I hate to cross that Van Halen bridge so many times because of the association with T-Tuner, but so much of that stuff is a part of my life as a guitar player,
Oh, sure.
with nothing to do with the association. My main guitar to this day is still my Ernie Ball Music Man
Okay.
version of that guitar. I have a purple one that became my player.
Okay.
And over time, and I got to tell you, I started with the 5150 head, and I had that, and I would run two of them in stereo with just a little chorus and a wah on one side. And that was my rig for years. And even if I play now, that's it. And over time, I've upgraded a little bit. I managed to find, a few years back, a Soldano SLO 100.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So, and it's one of the green ones. So my Music Man guitar into that SLO 100 for me is pretty heavy.
Okay.
That's my sweet spot.
Okay.
It does really good clean. It does really great crunch, and obviously it'll smoke for leads.
That Music Man guitar is an amazing instrument.
Killer.
I mean, it really is. So I have never owned the EVH, Eddie signature Music Man, but I have an Axis, and I like that guitar.
Definitely a difference.
Really?
There's
Okay.
definitely a
So I've
difference.
I've never got an opportunity to play.
Next time I come, I'll bring my player. There's definitely a difference in the guitars, and it's not just moving the toggle switch. I think they made them in lower quantities back then.
Sure.
People weren't even sure if it was going to be popular, and of course it was.
Of course, it's going to be popular.
But I think the quality was really high. The woods were
Oh yeah,
much
I've seen the
nicer.
necks,
Yeah.
the back of the necks of
All
some of them are
bird's-eyed
just
out.
amazing. Yeah.
which you really don't see now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
They're still great guitars,
Yeah.
but there's something about the EVH series of those guitars. Every one I pick up, and over time I've owned a ton of them.
Really? Okay.
And I've never found a dud. Obviously, some were better than others, but
Sure.
I never found
Sure,
a
and
dud.
that always happens. I collect PV Wolfgangs because that was the guitar when I first got into the business was in kind of the mid to late 90s, and that was kind of like the holy grail, especially when you worked at a guitar store and you were a Van Halen fan. And so that's kind of what I love. I've never had the opportunity to play the Music Man, but maybe you'll bring yours next time. I'll check it
It's a
out.
different animal, and I have the PV version as well, and
Okay.
I like the guitar. It's a cool guitar. Obviously, he was a huge part of that guitar.
Sure.
And they play great. They sound great. The new Fender versions
Yeah,
are
I have some of those too.
great. They're all the USA Wolfgang, like the Stealth version, and
Yeah, that's a cool
era.
guitar.
They're great guitars. But just for me as a guitar player, nothing to do with anything. When I pick up my main Music Man guitar. It's like putting on your old baseball glove or your favorite pair of jeans.
Sure. It just fits and
so
it's perfect. It's right
yeah.
for you. Your hand goes on that neck and you just know where you are, and just like a transfer of power, kind of.
You're comfortable. You're comfortable in that, whatever that guitar is. Yeah. That's my one guitar. And sometimes it'll fall out of service for a little bit because I'll be messing with other stuff. And then when you pick it back up, it's like,
this is it. You're home.
Come to Papa.
Yeah. So we've touched a little bit on the Van Halen connection. Who are some of your idols in terms of guitar players and just kind of general personalities that kind of have helped you get to where you are?
I'm really lucky in the fact that a lot of my artist roster were, like I said, the same guys that I would buy the records and go to the shows and buy a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss anybody, but even to rattle a couple off, Phil Collen from Def Leppard could not be a nicer guy or a greater influence, and talk about, writing hits and sales. Phil is great. Warren DeMartini from Rat was always in my Mount Rushmore of guitar players.
Yeah,
and
totally.
That's still another pinch me moment. And as a guitar player, forget what he does with FU. I just sit there and watch that guy play with my mouth open. I can't believe what I'm watching. He's that good. I don't want to make a mistake. I'll give you the most underrated guitar player in the game.
Okay.
Who is a stellar musician, can hold serve with any guy in the game. Steve Brown from Trickster.
Yeah, totally.
Steve Brown from Trickster, not just a great friend for a lot of years, but as a guitar player, this total sleeper. And people will say to me, "Oh my God, I had no idea." And I'll be like, watch this. What? Yeah. They'll be like, "That's that guy?" Yeah. I'm like, "Yeah." And then forget his guitar god ability, his songwriting. I have a bunch of his demos that were outside of Trickster. The songs are just like hit after hit after hit, that good. Not even shreddy guitars,
Yeah, just good writing. Just
unbelievable,
good, solid writing.
Unbelievable writing. Listen to the last Trickster record, too. So Steve is, to me, a giant guitar player, and nobody knows.
Yeah.
The industry knows. The masses don't know.
So much, but you can't go by them, really.
So if you're a guitar player, go on YouTube and just go find stuff of him playing with or without Trickster, and you'll be enlightened as a guitar player. Yeah. Earlier we talked about CeCe DeVille. You and I were chatting. CeCe's an FU guy who people could go, Poison and CeCe. It's like, they're gonna slag it a little bit. But I heard a very famous guitar player say once, "You go write as many hits as he did."
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I can run a few more. Tommy Shaw and James Young of Styx, amazing.
Oh, they're great musicians, yeah.
Stellar. Paul Crook from Meatloaf, stellar. Yeah. Just a giant. John Levin from Dokken, obviously Lynch was great, but John Levin, total sleeper guitar player that'll just, cut your head off.
I think now with the internet and YouTube and kind of instant access to people, we don't have quite the same kind of guitar god mentality or image that we used to have, because I think that everybody has access to everything, and your mind has been blown so many times. Like, wow, this guy's amazing. This 12-year-old kid is amazing too, and I think it's somewhat disappointing because the mystique of the guitar god is somewhat gone away, I think.
I'll give you my last guitar god. I think you'll agree with me, and you could also put him on my former list that I was just running with. Nuno Bettencourt.
Oh, yeah.
Was probably, in my opinion, the last guy to come out of the era that is that guy, that's just that good of a player, that good of a songwriter, that good of a singer, spectacular. A monster. And after Nuno, I mean, who do you got? Who was the last icon that other guitar players will turn and go, wow, or that you'll see on the cover of Guitar Magazine?
Well, I'm going to give you one.
Give me one.
A modern day.
Tell me.
Nita Strauss.
Nita, also an FU cat. And I'll give it to you. She is stellar. She's an FU cat. She's an amazing player. She's in a great gig, and she's a total shred monster.
Yeah, and she's everywhere, really, in terms of being out there in the world. She has her own fan base.
Great example of current day marketing done right.
Yes.
And not in a gimmicky way, because at the end of that thread is her talent.
Yeah.
Because she's that good.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would say it's in the same vein of where we're going to say Guitar Hero of like a Nuno, where,
Well,
where not who's better, just in a different era where every guitar player is going to stop, look, and listen and go, what's that guy from Extreme doing?
Yeah.
I think that was the end of she's holding it down. There's a handful of cats that are still flying the flag and doing it right, and she's ridiculous. Her playing is the solo album she just put out.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Spectacular. But the masses aren't going to grab that album and have to run for it.
Right.
And I'll give you the last instrumentalist like that, or shred guy that owned it, is probably going to have to be Satriani. That will sell albums in numbers.
Yeah.
That the masses will eat up. That will be on the cover of the guitar magazines. That everyone's going to, she's on the covers. I know she's out there. Trust me, I'm not saying anything wrong. I agree with you. She's amazing. But I think the tide is turned against the Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Now I get into this conversation, and the guy to have this conversation with is JJ French from Twisted Sister, who's very into the business of the music business. And
he's an awesome guy. I worked at clinic with him once before.
Spectacular.
Too, yeah.
Eddie and JJ, both good friends and FU guys. But JJ will get into and explain the economics of why the music business is different. And then at the end of that chain, how the thing that suffers the most is the music.
Yeah.
Because the money's not there to cultivate the artist, to invest in an artist, to put them up in a studio.
Or just the production for the album.
All of it, the whole thing. It's gone because the money's gone. Now it's streaming. Now no one's selling records. You gotta go sell tickets and T-shirts now, where in the past you went on tour to break even to sell your album because you made money from selling albums.
Sure.
And now it's vice versa. The album's an excuse to just go tour. And I have plenty of bands that don't even put the record out anymore. They just go every summer, play the catalog, and that's how they get paid. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but it's different. So tell me about the first FU Tone artist and what kind of sense of validation that gave you, and who it was, and how it happened.
I think early on, 1 and 1A, right at the beginning, was Phil Cullen.
Okay.
From Def Leppard, and he was a huge help to me for launching this, and he believed in what I was doing enough that I would go out and meet them on the road and just take his guitars and start changing this part, that part. And as I developed new parts, I'd come out with the new parts. And he had such trust in me to sit there, the day of a concert and take his stage guitars apart. And then I would get in, hours before he did, and I would start ripping stuff apart, and I would have it together, and he'd show up, and we'd plug in, and he would say, "That's great, leave it," or change that to that. And he was such a mentor and a guiding force for me, and very helpful. And a footnote, couldn't be a nicer guy.
Yeah, he seems like such an awesome guy.
Beyond the kind of guy that you'll be working on. Can I get you a drink? What do you need?
Yeah.
Do you have a guest tonight?
Yeah.
Over the course of our years working together and becoming much friendlier, one day a guitar shows up in the Jackson box, and I open it up and I see it's a PC1, a certain PC1, and I called him and I said, "The usual, you want, titanium saddles, titanium block." And he said, "That one's for you." I said, "What?" I said, "I can't take this." I said, it's too expensive and too nice." I said, "I don't need you to give me a guitar, but if you're going to feel like you need to give me a guitar, why don't you send me like a second, something that's broken, something you don't play anymore, not this." And he goes, "I'll be insulted if you don't take that guitar." I go, "Thank you very much." So,
wow, that's really awesome.
He's spectacular.
I first got turned on to FU Tone products through Liquid Charlie.
Yes.
And being a huge Van Halen fan, I think some of his videos caught my eye. I think he was upgrading his Bumblebee EVH guitar, and I just stopped and watched it and kind of took it all in, and then just became a follower and a fan, and just kept seeing cool stuff come out, and really awesome interpretations of classic Van Halen tunes that we've all heard a ton of times, and reached out to him and kind of got to know him and did lessons and became friends, and he kept telling me about FU Tone. So I ordered some stuff and checked it out. And tell me a little bit about your relationship with Liquid Charlie and how that got started.
I love Liquid. I love him, and we've become really good friends over the years. I met Liquid through Eric Broadbent, who does one of the online shows. At the time, it was EVH Gear, and he's really great, and a lot of fun, and he promoted my stuff great, and he used it. He used FU Tone as an artist before that.
Wow, okay.
And his channel just changed to the Music Gear Network, I think it's called exactly. So it's not just EVH. It's still a ton of EVH stuff, but it's like we're not pigeonholed to EVH.
Sure.
We're just talking about gear.
Sure.
Helix, Kramer, this one. So Eric and I were friends from the beginning. And he said to me one day, he said, I never push guys on you, or I never tell you to look at guys because, I don't want to be that guy. He goes, but I have a friend, Liquid Charlie, and this guy he's amazing, and he's in England, and he does this and he does that. And I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll take a look. And I checked him out, and I go, wow, guy's obviously a great player. So off the bat, spectacular player. And I sent him a couple parts to try, and he's like, wow, I love this stuff. And we kind of hit it off. And then we started talking on the phone more. And then now we chat like two schoolgirls all the time. And it's rarely about gear.
Any guitar. Just talking to your friends.
It's like my bro. I talked to him on the way here. We were just chatting on the way, and we FaceTime all the time. And what's funny is we usually talk about the differences between our cultures and our countries, and say, well, what do you call this? And I'll go, yeah, well, what do you call that? And we'll make fun of people, and we really hit it off as friends. So over the years, and we've gotten together a couple times. He's come here to the West Coast for NAMM, and we chat away. But Charlie does something really good in the age of these guys that are playing mostly online. He's rewriting, mostly Van Halen songs, but he'll do Extreme and other things as well. And he'll do the mashups. Yeah. So he just did the entire Diver Down album in a minute and a half.
Yep.
And I love how he puts it together. He just did a Skid Row one. Oh, add that to my list. I'm going to keep adding to my list of people as I talk so I don't forget. Snake Sabo and Scotty Hill from Skid Row. Huge influence.
Awesome guitar players.
Sick guitar. Yes. You got to see it live even. And the nicest guys. Love those guys, but sick. So Liquid just did a Skid Row song, and he does the vocal line with guitar. Yep. And he's doing something different and neat, and people are taking notice. The artists are taking notice of wow, look at this guy. He's really doing us justice. Yeah. Since we're on the I'm just going to wing this, actually. I just pulled out my phone. I'm just going to do a FaceTime. So I wonder if it'll work on here. Let me see if he picks up. We could keep talking if he does. And if he doesn't, he'll probably call back. How's this for being spontaneous?
This is good.
Too bad, Liquid, you're not picking up.
Oh, come on.
Here he is.
Oh, he's always coughing.
You there?
Yeah.
Listen, I hate to put you on the spot.
Hey!
No.
I know that guy.
How's it going?
So I hate to put you on the spot, but we're on his podcast live.
Oh. Wow, amazing. No pressure then.
And yeah, no pressure at all, because he said to me, we started talking about you, and I'm telling the story of you, and I said, I chat with him all the time, and I just chatted with him on the way here, and I said, I'm going to reach in my pocket and put you on the spot.
Oh, fantastic. I love a good podcast. I've never been on a podcast, so
Well, here you go.
this is incredible. Am I allowed to swear?
Sure.
Oh, fucking great.
Oh, wait. Hey, nice guitar. Wait, talk about...
Oh, yeah. We know that guitar.
Poor connection. Too bad for both of you.
So I just saw the 1984 video earlier.
Oh, you seen it, have you?
Yeah, it's awesome. Great job as always.
Yeah, I think this is the best one so far.
Wow, really? Okay.
Well, I think it's my favourite. Like these short ones I'm doing,
Dude, don't hog my podcast. I was giving you a plug.
Oh, I see.
This is what I'm telling you about him. And we just get on the phone and we end up just cracking up
Yeah, it's
for
fun.
a half hour over nonsense.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what we were cracking up to today because it was hysterical. But I don't want to blow the big secret about Duo Inferno coming up. So
Oh, man.
we'll wait till TMZ gets a hold of that.
No, I should get first exclusive
Can't help
before
you.
TMZ.
Can't help you there.
No, that's not.
So anyway,
What's
I just
going on this
wanted to
podcast?
check
Is that
in
it?
with you. We're chatting. We're chatting about FU Tone, obviously, because that's, I guess, the topic. But more off of that, we're just talking about guitar players, and just hanging out like guitar players do.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, it's lovely to be a part of it.
Well, all right. It was nice checking in with you, and I'll catch you later.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for my first podcast.
All right, bro. We'll catch you later.
Nice one. Take care.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
There you go. See?
On the spot. So, no, he's really, really a great guy. He's a special guy outside of guitar. Lovely guy, funny guy, and just a guy like I'm lucky to have a friend like that.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome having this kind of partnership, especially just doing the last video that we did with the Van Halen rarities, and you sending the parts for us to put in his guitar, and
Well, that was that was really the link. So how I said Eric linked me to Charlie, and Charlie was you to me. And he said, I met this guy, Keith, from Island Music. Do you know Island? And I looked and I went, wow, it looks really cool. And he said, we're talking about this. And then we all started talking, but it leads to what we're even doing here today.
Yeah.
So the guitar, the EVH Wolfgang that you outfitted with FU Tone for Charlie was a great way for the three of us to say to the people who follow us in the public, like, look at these other guys.
Yeah.
An Island Music follower might not have known Liquid Charlie,
Right.
or FU Tone, or an FU Tone guy
might not have known Island Music. Yeah.
Right, and they go, well, I could get my guitar preloaded with FU Tone from Island Music.
Yeah.
And like, well, sure you can.
And we
Sure.
all like the same stuff, and it just kind of works, and it's cool, really.
It's neat because most people think the only way to get the FU Tone stuff is to order it and put it in themselves or to take it to a repair shop.
Sure.
And it is pretty simple to do it yourself, and I make videos to help people. But to get it while you're buying your guitar,
Yeah, it's
to
cool.
get it.
So you're just worried about playing.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
guess.
even if people come in with a repair or a setup for a Strat or an acoustic or a locking tremolo, it's like, hey, you can upgrade this with this stuff and your guitar will sound better.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't know that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't want that. No, I don't
No, I
want
don't
to sound any better.
better. Yeah.
Can you get anything worse than a plastic pin to put in my acoustic? Can you get me some paper?
Yeah.
Maybe styrofoam. It could be worse. But, no one's looking for that. But the key is just to know what your option is.
Sure.
To understand what your option is. And that's what we were doing with your staff today. I just basically explained what my stuff does and how it does it, and here, run with it. And just all you need is the knowledge to explain it to someone.
Yeah.
Because if you had Affutone sitting in the back and this and that and waited for someone to say,
To ask you,
yeah,
you know, who
oh,
would,
can I put this in my new ESP or EVH, you know?
Yeah.
If you waited for that, it's no good. Everyone has to be on the same page.
Totally.
And it's cool.
So at this point in your career, you could probably have any rig that you wanted. What is your dream rig?
I got to tell you, I'm really happy with what I have.
Wow, no guitar player ever says that.
I mean, it's not, and I'm very lucky that I get to play through some of the rigs of my artists. I'll tell you the rig. I'll give it to you, which is just a bigger version of my rig. And it's probably the sickest live rig I've ever heard in my life. Mick Mars.
Really?
Mick Mars's live rig is so insane. And it's so loud and so thumpy. It's all Soldanos. Different parts of it are Marshall or VHT for certain stages of the rig. But the main thing is it's really 3 stereo rigs independent of each other.
Okay.
So yeah, if you imagine the 6 cabinets across, first 2 are a left and right stereo off one thing. Next to are an independent stereo rig. Next to are an independent stereo rig. Then under the stage, he has subs.
Really?
Coming up with the same stuff.
Like 18s?
I do not know exactly what's under there because they were under the grates.
Okay.
But you stand on the stage and you stand like right in the middle, like right between the cabinets and the pedal board. And you muffle the strings and you open the volume and you just kind of touch the string, you go chunk. And you hear the whole floor shake and you feel it through your bones. And God forbid you hit a chord. It's like, oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my, and it's monstrous.
Okay.
Monstrous. So that level, his live rig, and you know, I never got that sense from the records.
Yeah. That's why I was surprised when you said that.
That's why I was surprised when I started working with it years ago. And he was another, you could put him on the list too. Nicest guy, underrated guitar player, you know, a bluesy guitar player.
Yeah,
He's not a Vire or Satriani shred master.
Yeah.
He's a straight up bluesy guitar player. I'll tell you something else he does that nobody else does. He uses so much spring tension on his bridge. So the bridge is blocked to dive only. But there's so much spring tension, and the way he tests the spring tension is he'll hit the low E string open, and then he'll bend the B string high up on the neck to see if the E string
will warble out of tune.
Comes out of tune.
Okay.
And if, you know, he hits the low E and bends the B and it goes, he goes, more spring tension. You end up putting so much spring tension on this bridge. Like the bar is like working a workout machine to push down. And Mick's a little guy.
Yeah.
And he's a frail guy. And you see him and he goes real slow up to the stage and he just gets up the stairs. But you strap that guitar on him, man, with that bar. He beats the shit out of that bar. And he's the only guy I ever saw to break a bar.
Wow.
I mean, he bangs the shit out of it. He kills it. And it's so heavy and so loud, and he's tuned down a full step.
Okay.
That rig is
Okay.
crazy. I don't know where you could play it. You need your own arena to play it because it doesn't work anywhere else. And quite frankly, if you're in the first 10 rows on that side of the stage, you're going to get washed out from the guitar rig.
Yeah, that's all you're going to hear.
It's so loud, but it's good because it's that Soldano 6L6, smooth but heavy, nice.
And the
kick in
subs,
the
I had no idea about the subs too.
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
So, talking of tone, if you had to pick an album and say that's the tone that I want, or that is my favorite tone, what would you pick?
I can't pick one, again, because it's too many guys and too many good tones. But I'll give you one, and I'll give you a good example around this tone, too. Warren DeMartini, Lay It Down. So that opening riff.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's perfect. It's just perfect. I was in L.A. last year or the year before, and I was at a friend's house, and I was going to see Warren. And my friend said to me, he has a studio in the back of the house. He goes, yo, check it out. I've got the lay it down tone going. He said, oh, yeah? And I went back there and he handed me like this beat up Hamer guitar into a certain amp and a delay set just right. Tuned down a half step and drop D. And of course I start playing Lay It Down.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was pretty good. Sounded like any kid in Guitar Center or music store playing Lay It Down. And the tone was real close and it was good. And I hand him the guitar and he lays out that riff and it's good. And you start playing like of the era riffs. And I was meeting Warren later and I said, hey man, come over to so-and-so's house. He goes, all right. And he came over and he knocks on the door. And as soon as I open the door, I go, yo, man, he says he's got the Lay It Down tone going in the back. And Warren goes, oh, yeah. And we walk back, and I hand him the same guitar, just flip on the power of the amp, and Warren plays Lay It Down, and it's the record.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's the gear is so important, and the gear will get you into the neighborhood. But at the end of the day, it's the guy.
Yeah, it's how he articulates. It's the tone of his hands.
It's the guy. I tell people I play Ed Van Halen's rig. Sounds just like me.
Yeah, every time. I don't know what's wrong.
It's amazing. Same with Warren's stuff. And conversely, I've seen a lot of these guys, these iconic Guitar Hero guys, play guitars that aren't theirs or amps that aren't theirs. And they play my stuff, sounds like them. You know, and Warren was the example, and he just played that intro riff, and in my mind, I just saw the beginning of the video and the clown hat spinning around.
Yeah, and
you're
like, oh, that's it. Wow,
that's it, right?
Amazing. Wow.
And it's funny because I took a picture right at that time, and I sent it to the said friend, and I'm like, got that tone going still.
That's funny. So what is currently going on with FU Tone? What do you have coming? What are you working on? You seem to be a pretty forward-moving guy. I'm sure you got a lot of cool things cooking.
I do have new stuff coming. So the locking stuff I think I've covered most of my bases. I have a couple new things still coming with that. Obviously the Strat stuff, the acoustic stuff, the Tele stuff, it's all out there and it's good. I have a Stop-Tail Tune-O-Matic coming next year.
Okay.
FU Tone, just, same concept, better materials, better quality, better sound.
Okay.
We just expanded with some cables. Some we're doing in-house ourselves, and then some that I brought in from a really high-end audio company called Wire World. Okay. They do like crazy home stereo cable runs, like $10,000 cable runs, crazy
so
stuff.
Much higher fidelity.
Yeah, and I brought in a power cable, an amp power cable from them, and a guitar cable. So I'm expanding my commodity items. When I say commodity items, I mean stuff like Morley pedals I'll add to the site, Headrush, Wire World, Music Nomad, Care products, just little add-on stuff that if you're shopping at FU Tone for what I mainly do, your blocks and upgrade parts, it's like, I could use a cable or I could use a can of guitar polish, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So commodity items are expanding, personal items, FU items are expanding, and by the end of the year, I hope to have the FU guitar come out, which we prototyped last year. We're looking to do it preloaded, like a Super Strat type of guitar at a very reasonable price, loaded with all the stuff like the way I would want it.
Okay.
So I did the prototype. We're still negotiating with a couple companies to finish the project, but it should be out around the end of the year.
That's exciting.
It's the guitar, and so I'm trying to remember everything. So I also have I put out the FU pickup this year,
which was I'm excited to try those.
I'm going to send you one.
That's awesome.
It's a very basic pickup, and I spec'd a couple prototypes of what magnet and what kind of wire and what kind of output I wanted. Made some prototypes, liked it, at a sweet spot, reasonable priced pickup. I think under $100.
Wow. Okay.
We're going to expand next year also with a higher offering pickup from another friend in the industry that's going to come out, and we're going to brand their product for them and sell it for them at real high-end audio stuff. We're going to start with pickups and pots.
Okay.
So it'll be like the good Ferrari crazy stuff.
Okay, that's needed. That really is. That's a void that needs to be filled.
I cater to all sides of the coin of the upgrade. So you could upgrade your bridge with an FU block for $30-some. You could also buy an $800 set of saddles. It's not for everybody. And both will give you a huge leg up on where you were. Sure. So yes, my reasonably priced pickup offering, which is a really good pickup, I want something with the high end. Same with the cable. That's why I brought in Wire World. We started making a decent high end, like an $80 cable in-house. So Wire World's the next level up.
Yeah.
And it's, even though it's a commodity item, it doesn't matter. The way I look at it is I'm out there as a guitar player, and I found something cool. So I go,
you want to share it with everybody.
Dude, check this out. This is what guitar players do. Like, oh, did you see that? Oh, yeah, did you see this? And that's what we like to do to each other. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like that way for drummers.
It's not the same for drummers. It isn't.
I wonder that.
Yeah, I think guitar players, when we sell basically every kind of instrument that there is, but it's guitar players are just always
more analytical.
Yeah. And
You're calling drummers dumb? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not exactly what. There's a lot of good drummer jokes, though.
You want to roll that?
No. But no, I think that guitar players are, for whatever reason, constantly searching for better tone, better sustain, better articulation, a different tone. It's
part of the process.
Yeah,
it's part of the process of playing.
I mean, most of the time, they just get a drum set and
drool.
That's what it is.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Next, there'll be the FU tone drum heads.
It's funny because I work with so many guitar players, and I'm on the road with a lot of these guys, and you get to know the other guys in the band and the drummers and bass players and singers. And over time, drummers have said to me, what if we change this? Do you think that I go, maybe, bass players, hey, can we do this? And I'm thinking of a bass bridge offering maybe down the road, and I've flirted with it a little bit.
It seems like you could expand into that.
It seems like you could upgrade anything, by just adding better components. Yeah. Better components, done right, more expensive. It's got to sound better, you would think. And I mentioned to you offline, I'll plug it. My friend from high school, Croker Percussion, found a way to make a better sounding cajon and a better sounding shaker. I'm not even a percussionist. He came to my office and he showed me this stuff. And he had a regular shaker, like a piece of metal with the beads in it. And he had a titanium shaker. I go, oh, you're coming up my alley with the titanium. And I stood there and A-B'd these two shakers, and I know nothing. I go, God damn it, this sounds better. This is a nicer sound. And I go, hats off. And he's breaking into the industry and doing just what every other upgrade guy in this business has done. He's done it better, with better quality, better components, better assembly, care, better everything. And isn't that how it all started? Isn't that what Seymour Duncan did? Yeah. He said, you know what, this is a weak link in a guitar. I can make that part better. Yeah. Just need better magnet, better wire, and do it a little better. And boom, there it is. And isn't, like we were saying about 80s guys, because this is when it happened, when it was all Fender and Gibson. Isn't that what Wayne Charvel and Grover Jackson and companies like ESP, Bernie Rico and BC Rich, and they go, wait a minute, I can make a better guitar. I can make a better quality, better sounding, better playing instrument. Yeah. And that's all it became, was build a better mousetrap. Yeah. So I just build better parts to help guys build better mousetraps. And a lot of my guys, I have a ton of boutique builders that will just order bridges and PMS, pickup mounting systems, and bridge pins, and because they're trying to be the next generation of build a better mousetrap.
Sure.
I got a guy in Italy, Luteria Rocks guitars, insanely expensive guitars. Very expensive, hard to sell a guitar that expensive. He's like, I'm competing. I have the best woods. I do this all by hand. I hand wind my pickups. I want a better bridge, period. And they're really cool guitars. I have one in my office. You could see it in all the videos, usually hanging on the left. If I'm not playing it, there's a natural color star body guitar from Luteria Rocks. And it's all these great Italian woods. And every time I pick the guitar up, I sniff the back cavity where the spring. It's like a cigar box type smell.
Yeah.
And you still, I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
wow, this guitar even smells good. Forget that it sounds great and plays great, looks great. It smells really good.
And that's important. A couple months ago, you were in Washington, D.C. doing some lobbying on behalf of NAMM.
That's when I wear the suit.
That makes sense. Give us kind of the rundown on that.
It's spectacular, and I'm very lucky to be a part of this group. It's called the NAMM Fly-In, and there's a group of delegates from each state to represent your state. We meet in D.C. We have our lobbying firm that we work with. Everyone gets trained on how to go up on the Capitol Hill, meet with your congressmen, your senators, and all your elected officials to make sure that the music education funding package gets funded.
Oh.
So it's education, period. So it's the education funding, but music and arts are part of it. And we go in there and explain to these guys, here's why we need you to vote for full funding on this special section that you will vote on, and we'll tell you why and the reasons why. Some music education, I could do the whole pitch for you, but it helps kids be better students. Sure. Off the street. If you play an instrument, you're going to have a better math score. If you play an instrument, you're going to do better at this, and on and on and on. The list is endless, and we have studies that back it up. And we go in there and you make the pitch. Who's going to argue with that? Who's going to, well, no, we don't want that. But it is about the money, and it's incredible. It's such a good feeling. I've done it 2 years now, and I can't wait to do it again next year. I've made some great friends within the group, really amazing people in D.C. I've gotten to know a bunch of my elected officials, and now it's like a thing. It's like you and me. It's like you know each other now. So if I walk in, you already know it's good, and I'm here only to help. Yeah. It's not like, oh, what's this guy want? Yeah. It's like, I know. All right, I got to vote for this. Yeah. And each year, the funding gets bumped up and up and up, and I like to think we have a huge hand in getting that done. Wow. Another part of that process, which is even better than the funding, we do something called a day of service. So the first day before we start with the work, we go into the inner city. And this year we went to a school in a underprivileged area where the kids really don't have anything. And we had different groups. We had a guitar group, we had a drum and percussion, we had a ukulele group. And the kids would move through our groups, and we would give them a guitar lesson, a ukulele lesson.
Oh, that's awesome.
And this was the most rewarding part. I'm sitting there playing guitar with these kids who've never held a guitar before. All right, put this finger here. Now just strum these 2 strings. Now do this. And it was so rewarding for them and for us. And we were in there. NAMM did a nice video link, a few-minute video. We could maybe put it as part of this, just showing the day of service. Okay. It's like a little 2-minute trailer type thing. And I only got in it for like a second, but okay. But at least it's not like I was going to star in the video. But boy, everyone comes together, and it's the president and NAMM and all the upper staff with the group. Good people on Team Pennsylvania. I have the guys from Martin Guitar and Chris Martin.
That's cool.
And his team. We're part of this, and you make great friendships in this. You make great business connections in this. You're doing good, Sure. And the truth is, there's nothing in this for FU Tone. If I get this funding package and this and that, I'm not going to sell one more FU Tone item. Right. It's a give back.
You really do.
It's a complete give back.
I think we've both been very fortunate in our careers and what we do for a living, and you really have to take a minute and say to yourself, now it's my turn to do something to help somebody else. And, karma is, a real thing and a good thing, and you just need to be out there. If you can help somebody and make a difference, you should do it.
I try, not just in the industry, just in life, I would say, as a general rule of thumb. maybe help someone out, or you see someone, maybe throw them a buck or pick up a sandwich or do something nice for somebody. I try, and it gets harder and harder in today's world, where I think a lot of people are pretty nasty for the most part, and out for themselves or taking advantage, and in a very dangerous society now. You see less and less of the good things, I think. So I try to fill that side of the bucket as best I can.
Yeah, that shows. You do a good job.
Thanks, man.
I think we have a thing that we do every year. It's called Rocktoberfest, and it's grown into an entire street festival. So every year, the first Saturday of October, both our town and our county have officially named it Rocktoberfest Weekend.
Nice.
And we do basically an outdoor music festival. And it's to raise money for the Charles County Music and Performing Arts Department. And this would be our 6th year doing it. We've raised over $100,000.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so each year we have 16 local bands all volunteer their time and play. And then we have one headlining national act band that, we raise money and pay for. And last year we had 5,000 people attend. And Sponge, if you remember Sponge from the 90s, they were the headlining band.
What was that big song they had?
Molly, 16 Candles Down the Drain was a big, and they were the nicest guys. Talking about nice guys. They were so nice. They actually donated back all their merch sales from that day to the event because they thought it was so cool. And this year we have Lit, which
nice.
will be really cool too. So we're anticipating hopefully more than 5,000 people, but you never know.
First week of October this year, I'm going to be
October 5th.
I'm going to be in Los Angeles. So I guarantee you next year, what are the odds I'll be away that one?
Yeah.
I will go to the following one because that sounds like an awesome thing.
It's really fun. I mean, the entire town takes part in it, and everybody, there's a big sense of pride of giving back and being part of the community, and it turns out to be a real awesome day.
Another event that's just not part of the internet. You know what I mean? It's like the music store anymore. Yeah. It's like, this is rare. Yeah. I live in a little town like that, to Newtown, Pennsylvania, where you have like the old hardware store, and a couple of little stores and restaurants, and they have the parades and little events like that. It's a lost Americana thing.
Yeah, it really is.
I think
and it's so awesome to see everybody in the town take part in this event.
It's super cool.
I mean,
I can't wait to come to this.
See like Rocktoberfest T-shirts on like an accountant, down the street, or like the posters somewhere, or that, the town or the county calls you and says, hey, we'd like you to come to this thing. We're going to officially say that the first weekend of October is Rocktoberfest weekend. Would you mind coming? And
that's
cool.
Awesome. I think that's excellent.
So it's really kind of a cool thing. Anything else that you want to share with our listeners?
I got to tell you, I'll think of like 30 things as soon as we wrap up. But I got to tell you, again, thank you for having me. Thanks for believing in what I do and sharing in it with me. Thanks for helping promote what I do. And it's all good for everyone. This is...
Yeah, no, it's been awesome.
We're having fun. And we already upgraded a couple guitars. We're going to do a couple more.
Too. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the difference on the Strat. I think that's going to be
Strat's going to be killer. I love the Strat upgrade.
And the bridge pins are phenomenal.
Thanks.
I mean, they really are.
Like, it's such a basic thing, like we were talking about. You have this great piece of wood and strings and tuners and a bridge, and then a 4-cent piece of plastic holding it all together and sending the tone out into the wood. Makes no sense to me, but that's why I sell upgraded bridge pins.
Don't tell anybody. Well, yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
Thanks,
and
man.
We appreciate everything that you've done for Island Music and for myself.
I'm psyched for my Island Music shirt.
I'm going to get on that. Well, we're going to go right to the front counter and get Morgan to order it for you. Don't worry.
It's cool, man. Thank you again. This has been awesome so far, and I can't wait for the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
Dude, you rule.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good stuff.